Dr. T. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Morning, welcome.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today.
Thank you so very much for consenting to be interviewed on this very important occasion. Why did you see it necessary to begin International Men's Day?
I felt when I was younger that men were being stigmatized, they were being stereotyped, and there were all these images of men as rapists, corrupt, evil, perpetrators of violence. And I wanted to see if I could find the invisible men, the good men, highlight positive men, so that we could start changing the narrative, changing that narrative that was being fed to us 25 years ago. And, I'm seeing some changes, but still, we still have those stereotypes. So I felt there was a need to get involved in the men's movement to try to improve the image of men.
And I'm glad that you're making strides. But what I would like to know is why did you choose the 19th of November?
For two reasons. Firstly, on the 19th of November 1989, my country, Trinidad and Tobago, we played a crucial World Cup qualifying match against the United States and we lost 1-0. So we didn't go to the World Cup. But on that date, 19th of November, it generated this patriotism and nationalism, unity. It brought together peoples of different ethnicity, classes, religious backgrounds, both men and women, children. And I wanted to use this date, 19th of November, as a forum, as a vehicle to help unite the men's movement, which I also saw divided and fragmented. And secondly, I chose 19th of November because it's the birthday of my dad, who I saw as a role model. And I felt other boys and young men should see their grandfather, uncle, male teacher, father as a role model in the family and community.
Those are two very important reasons indeed, especially the part about the role model. Can you tell us if International Men's Day is popular in Caribbean countries?
It is not as popular as it should be. We have this year about 7 or 8 Caribbean countries having observances. Some countries will be having interviews on the radio and television, like you all in St. Kitts. But what I've realized is that because it's not on the calendar of the United Nations, it is not as popular as the other important days.
So, Dr. Singh, what are you doing to get it on the calendar of the United Nations so that it can be publicized like the other international days?
I am writing to various countries and telling them that their United Nations ambassadors who represent their countries, they have to pass that resolution. So it cannot be a petition, it cannot be a individual letter asking the UN. It has to be a country's ambassador to the UN who will have to push that resolution forward. So I'm hoping it could generate some interest, but it's so difficult. It's been 24 years now and no country has come forward and done that.
We've been speaking about Caribbean countries, but it is celebrated in other countries in the world. How many countries celebrate it? Do you know?
This year will be 93 countries, and it's been an amazing journey because I've been seeing a jump, from 10 countries to 22, 27, 35. So it is a gradual increase. The only sad thing is that, sometimes I see a little regression. Sometimes I would have like 89 countries and in the next year, 76. So sometimes I see some countries, not showing interest. So I always have to be behind these countries to remind them about this day.
What is it you're behind the countries to remind them how rewarding do you feel your job is?
Pardon?
How rewarding? Like you say you're behind the countries to ensure that they celebrate the men. How rewarding do you feel?
I feel a sense of accomplishment. I feel that I have achieved something because whenever a country promotes the day, the men in the country benefit. Men who might be depressed, men who might be suicidal, they feel appreciated, they feel wanted. Maybe there might be men who have custody cases in court fighting over children, and this will give them a little hope and inspiration to know that, there's a day for them, a day when we focus on them, a day when we're trying to help them.
So you've been out there, you've been speaking at conferences. As a matter of fact, in 2015, you spoke at a men's conference in Trinidad and Tobago, and you said something very interesting, which I want to quote now and get your feedback on it. You said, quote, International Men's Day is not just about highlighting positive role models. It is also about trying to reduce that gender division between boys and girls, between men and women. What progress have you seen made? What progress, rather, was made since you made that statement in 2015 and now, 7 years later?
Yeah. It's a very good question. It's a question that could come back to haunt me because here I am trying to create harmony in families, trying to, improve gender relations, not just for adults, but for younger people. And yet I am seeing a marked increase sometimes in gender-based violence. I see murders here in Trinidad and Tobago. We have more than 500 murders, and some of them are domestic disputes between men and women, husband and wives. I'm seeing violence in the schools between boys and girls, and globally, sometimes there is a drawback. You all might know about the Me Too movement and those big cases like the Weinstein and the Epstein issues, so that whenever something like that happens globally, it impacts negatively on the work I am trying to do to bridge that gender gap. Whenever a man is accused of rape or sexual harassment or sexual assault, it undermines some of the good work that we are doing here in the trenches.
Can you share with us the theme for this year's International Men's Day?
The theme this year is men leading as examples. Men leading as examples simply mean we want our men to be role models. We want our men to be mentors. We want our men to be role models in the home, the community, the workplace, the village, church, mosque, temple. We want them, to be that light, to give hope for the next generation, for young boys who would say, I want to grow up to be like that man. I want to grow up and be like, that uncle. So this is what the theme is about, trying to be good examples for the younger generation.
That's a very important theme because I remember again as I was listening to your speech at that conference in 2015. At the time, you did say that there were about 300 murders in your federation, in the Republic, and to see that we've gone up to 500. I know that we had our own issues with murder here, and generally we were witnessing the deaths of young men who hadn't even made it to 30 years old. So I can see how this theme is impactful in helping to change the way that men think and the way that the community treats men and women. What I want to ask you now is about something that you also said at that conference. A very interesting statement, by the way. You had spoken about there being an ongoing gender war between men and women. Is there still a gender war in your opinion?
I believe that there is this gender war. It might not be as serious as a battle like maybe in the Russia-Ukraine battle, but it's a tension, it's a war where the men and the women in a relationship, one is always trying to be dominant. One is always trying to, outdo the other, to be in control. And I've realized that this gender war, it's about dominance, it's about control, it's about power relations. So I'm trying to diffuse some of this tension, but it is so difficult because this gender war is connected to capitalism, it's part of patriarchy, it's something that has been here for generations. It's entrenched in our society, this friction. So it's very difficult to unravel something that we have been socialized to accept, that we have been seen as normal.
Because now, back in the day, women would stay home and do all the house chores while the husband goes out to work. And now they're both going out to work, and I know that normally causes one of the issues that can cause some conflict. So how can
Especially, it causes tension, especially if woman is earning a higher wage and bringing home a bigger paycheck, you know.
I want to pick up on that
intentionally
because
left that part?
that's something that I want to pick up on actually, because when we talk about what manhood is and what masculinity is, and even the evolution or concepts of that, that actually informs our attitudes, and we have to learn now to change behaviors. I'm not correct, Doctor?
I agree with you. And when men come by me and when they're in seminars and workshops and they talk about their girlfriends and wives earning more, I would tell them it's because when the men were younger, when they were boys, they were playful in school, they were underachievers. They didn't want to be a nerd. They didn't want to appear to be too studious or
Yes.
too bookish. They were too playful, and now they don't have the certificates, the qualifications, but their girlfriends and wives were more focused